All right, guys, welcome back to our Wednesday Zoom call. Friday mornings, if you guys are listening on the podcast. Um, well, it's been a few weeks. Last week I had parent-teacher conferences on Wednesday, so was not able to make it to our Zoom call, but I am here now. So any week that we can't meet here, I have all the pre-recordings from in 2022 when I was recording. So here and there, I'm going to just kind of dish out some of those whenever we miss a Zoom call on our Wednesdays, and I'll just use a pre-recorded one. So I've got those all kind of logged out and ready to go for future references. But anywho, though, so tonight, short, just one topic that I want to hit real quick. This is about mindset, but more than anything, I think it's more about perspective. So the question that I have for you guys that are on here or anybody that's listening is, so if I ask you to rank these things, these three items, and their greatest importance or their priority that they are in your life currently. So that would be time freedom, financial freedom, and health. So just real quick, kind of think about that. Where would you rank those things in terms of your current priorities? What does your current life indicate in terms of where those things rank at? And then on the flip side of that is, what would ideally, like, what is your ideal order of those things? I also I think I talked about this even on social media here recently as well. But so I love asking that question. I like to reserve that question for like entrepreneurs or people that are like workaholics, because they're obviously working away, they're kicking ass, trying to make their money. They're trying to get to the point where they can retire and they can have financial freedom and time freedom. However, I find that a lot of those people that are working their asses off like that are sacrificing, in my opinion, the most important thing, which is their health. So then by the time they actually have that financial freedom or they have that time freedom, now they have no health to account for. And now they're utilizing all that time and money and all that good stuff, focusing on their health at that point. And if you're doing that in your 50s or your 60s, not that it's never too late, but it's you're not going to get the same results as you would have before. And you're going to go through a lot more heartache and stress if you're waiting till that point in life. And kind of coming back to, I had a conversation with a client the other day. She just switched over to night shifts at a new job. So she left a daytime job, but the night shifts were better pay. She also has a little boy. I think he's like 3 or 4 years old. And so we were just kind of chatting about, her work-life balance at this point with working overnights, and how that's difficult to now find time to, spend with her son. It's hard to find time to spend with her boyfriend as well. And ultimately the pay is better. But does that really counter what she's missing out on in terms of all the other aspects of life? Not to mention, now sleep is obviously going to be massively affected. Now getting to the gym at certain times is going to be massively affected. So, I'm all for making extra money and having, that side of things all covered. And that's definitely admirable in a lot of ways. But, my thing with that though, is that really worth it in the long run? If you are beating yourself down because you're never, around, then mentally that's going to be a detriment to you. If you are not sleeping and not prioritizing, eating the right foods or getting to the gym and doing all the things that make you feel your absolute best, then is that really worth the extra $5 an hour that you're making? It might be. And unfortunately, I feel like for a lot of people, that is kind of where they end up going with it. But so if you can't tell what my order would be, my order would definitely be health is number one. To me, there's nothing more. The only times I'm ever really depressed in life is if I'm injured or if I'm sick or if I can't function the way I want to function. And then that, to me, if I'm not feeling my best, if my confidence is low, if my energy is low, there's no way I'm going to thrive in business, and whatever my job or career looks like. Even if you take away TLF and I'm just, teaching PE, if my health isn't on point, if my body doesn't feel good, I'm going to be a really shitty PE teacher. I'm not going to be able to be active with the kids and demonstrate and do all the things that I want to do. So I got to make sure, for that job, I also stay in tip top shape. But, time freedom and financial freedom, obviously huge as well. I think there's obviously money is one of the biggest stressors in life as well. So, that's got to be in check. And then obviously having time freedom is amazing. But again, it doesn't matter how much free time you have. I mean, if you have a stomach ache and you don't have to go to work that day, you're still fucking miserable because your stomach hurts really bad. And so if that's every single day and you're having to go to work and do all those things, then you're sacrificing to me what is the most important thing. When you have your health intact, you're going to thrive in every other area of life. If you have your finances thriving, that doesn't mean that your health is in check. That might mean you have the money to now pay for doctors and pay for medications and do all that stuff. But is that really what you worked your ass off for, so that you can be spending your time and money doing that? So that's kind of just a perspective that I kind of wanted to share with you guys. And then, asking that, coming back to that same client that I was talking about, I asked her that same question. I'm like, currently, where do those priorities fall for you between health, time freedom, and financial freedom? And so obviously she said financial is number one. That's why she took that job. Number two would be time, obviously for her kid, but then for some reason, health was at the back end of it. And I said, what would her ideal be? And she was like, well, I think time would be first, then again, coming back to time with her kid and time with her boyfriend and things like that. But then she still put health last, because she was like, well, if I have time and I have finances, then health is going to come alongside of it. And to me, I don't see it that way. And especially, not just my opinion, but from my experience in talking with people, all the people that have that financial freedom, that work their ass off, majority of them are sacrificing something. They're sacrificing their health to get there. But I also know a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people out there that when they put their health first, one of them is a ex-client of mine who lives over in Spain now. And that dude has always prioritized his health. He chose jobs, he chose careers, he chose, to run his own business, partially for the time freedom, partially for the financial freedom, but also allowed him to still prioritize, his health aspects of life, getting to sleep, getting to the gym, doing all those things. And because of that, he's thriving in all ways. And to me, he put the health priority first, and that led the way. And he's got a great balance now. That's somebody who I actually look up to. I admire a lot, because that's pretty damn impressive to be able to do everything he's done and keep his health at the forefront of all that. So I'll stop blabbering for a minute. Soli, Dex, Mom, Krista, anybody on here have any thoughts on that thing? Krista, you might have missed the intro with it. I asked if you had a rank in order of priorities in your life between time freedom, financial freedom, and health. Where would those fall in line at? And you guys don't have, okay, there you go. Dex, what's up?
I was just thinking about that because I was thinking how I would answer when you talked about how that client answered. And I was thinking, gosh, if she doesn't have health, it's really hard for her to work nights and
Yeah.
have energy to do so.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have your health, how are you going to continue like being there for your son forever and like flourishing that relationship with her boyfriend partner? So I totally got your perspective and I get her perspective at the moment.
Definitely.
So, and sometimes it takes time to see the bigger picture.
Yeah, I completely agree. And again, I don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer with this. I just feel like people, it's not even a lack of it's not they're putting it even in the wrong order. It's that a lot of people just, health isn't even on their scope of thought. They're focused on the other things. They're focused on what's going to give them pleasure. They're focused on what's going to give them immediate happiness. But health just seems to be not even on people's mind. They don't care about when they're going to sleep. They don't care about when they're getting to the gym. And I feel like that's just the majority of people. They don't care about what's going in their body. And that's wild to me. And it's wildly selfish to me. Yeah, it's your body. You can do what you want with it. But again, those around you, the people who love and care about you the most, they also have to deal with everything that you're doing or not doing. I use my grandma, who was one of my best friends, as an example of that. Now, obviously, she grew up in a different time, but given that we all are aware of the consequences of our health, for us to not take advantage of that and do the right things for it is outrageous to me. I mean, so like I said, coming back to my grandma, she passed away way too early, given she was lucky to have the time she had based off the way that she treated her body, but ultimately should have had 10 more years with her. You know, everybody around her wanted to just say that, oh, she's old, let her live her her lifestyle the way she is. But I'm like, okay, that's also kind of selfish. All the rest of her family wants to be around her as well. They want to enjoy all these times with her and things, and health was never a thought. And so then we all have to suffer watching these things happen as she gets older. And the same thing for everybody. So it isn't just about what you want to do as well. If you truly care about the people around you, then don't you want to give the best version of yourself to them? I mean, if you're constantly upset about how you feel and your confidence is low, you're not giving your best version of yourself to anybody, because now you're in your own head about your own issues with that shit. And if you would have just taken care of it, then when we're spending time together, everything is peachy. you know Solely, Dex, I think you guys unmuted yourself to say something a minute ago.
Uh, yeah, I was just gonna say I listened to that podcast the other day. It was a good episode. Um,
Thank you.
and then if you would have asked me like a few years ago, maybe like while I was still high school, college, I probably would have said like I probably would have ranked like money, time, and then health.
Mm-hmm.
But now after just being like more mature and like you, I lost my grandma too, and just like
Yeah.
experiencing things like my values have changed.
Yeah.
And like priorities have changed, and like now it's like health is on top, and then for me next would probably be money and time.
Yeah.
Just given like my background and like my family and stuff, like where they're coming from, their struggles, their successes, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, so it's like you said, in the past it was, health was at kind of the bottom of it. But what I got to say though about you, and I would assume that you would kind of agree with this though, is that, you know, 2 years ago is when you really started making some really big changes with your health, and prioritizing how you feel, how you look, all the things that actually truly make you feel good. And in my opinion, the rest of your life has only thrived since then. And maybe it would have happened anyway. Maybe if you would have, stayed kind of just in shape, but not really that focused, if you didn't really care that much about diet, maybe all the things that have happened to you that are positive things would have happened anyway. But I can't imagine that it didn't help you putting your health first. Now, I mean, you just leveled up in a new job. You got a new great job on top of things. Now you're engaged, you got a great relationship. So you're getting that time freedom, you're getting that financial freedom, and you're only headed more and more and more towards there. But now health is a constant in your life. So now you're going to get to, because I know that you're just the way you've adapted that, the way that you've prioritized it in your life, and our talks and stuff we've had, I know the next 20-30 years of your life, health is still going to maintain its place in your life. It might need to come down a little bit from where it's at currently, but it's always going to remain a constant in your life. And just by treading water and by maintaining some of the basics for overall health for you, you're going to end up having a financial success and the time successes and the freedoms and all that comes with that, and actually get to take advantage of that and actually get to enjoy retirement because you've taken care of your body alongside those other two things. So now when you have total time freedom and total financial freedom, you're not spending that time in doctor's offices. You're out traveling the world and doing so enjoyably because you've not sacrificed your well-being to get there.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm excited to see that. So like I said, I would assume that that's kind of been a piece of your success is that exact thing right there. Solly, did you have something to say? I thought you unmuted yourself a minute ago.
I did a minute ago. Yeah, Dexter has pretty much the same mentality I had. Like, I mean, like a few years ago, I would have been able to say the same thing. Like, health wasn't all that much, but when I flipped it, everything kind of felt better about myself and everything like that. I will admit, like, as weird as it sounded, 2020 was probably the most relaxed I've been because I had all three of those.
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to have all three of those at the time.
yeah,
And I could really see what you're saying about how good it is to have that. If you had to ask me today, like I would definitely say the same thing close to you, except I would rather have finances last and have more time. But that's not because recently I've been working two jobs and like missing out on some fun things and had a relationship that was like a little bit difficult to do when I didn't have Saturdays.
Yep.
So other than that, I mean, it's more or less about the same what Dexter has and what you said earlier. It's like my health, my parents are having some fun health issues. I was like, man, my mom has a hard relationship with food. Like, she just can't eat very often because of her Crohn's, and now I think she's more terrified of food than anything else in life.
Yeah.
because it hurts her every time she eats. So I'm just thankful. I'm falling in love with food. I'm seeing the importance of food,
Yeah.
and especially firsthand with all your workouts you got me doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just feel better in life when you know you're investing in how you actually feel every day. Because no matter what my bank account says, what your bank account says, if you don't feel good, if you don't feel confident just in what you're bringing to the table every day, then yeah, the finances are nice to still have. I mean, it's better than having nothing in the bank account and that, but it that's where your mind's going to be at majority of the day is how you feel. Um, so yeah, that's unfortunate your mom has that situation going on. And you know, some of that stuff is unavoidable. And that's the other thing too, is that, you know, just like in our busy years, is there's so many things that are unavoidable. There's so many obstacles that are going to be tossed at us, and life is going to toss at us anyway, that it makes it hard to stay on diet, or it makes it hard to stay, you know, in the gym and doing that type of stuff. So that's why it's important that we control the controllables. Just like as we age and we get older, I mean, there's a thousand things that could be waiting for us, even if we did all this shit right. But that's not a reason to not do it, just because there's a chance that something's going to go wrong. Even if we did all the right things, like, let's go ahead and embrace it, and let's plan for the best situation possible. And that's that. In my opinion, I live to be 100, and I'm one of those 100-year-olds that has no health issues. And then one day I just, then it's just it, you know. You hear those stories, I'm like, that seems ideal. But who knows? Maybe I'm working my ass off all for something super painful that I couldn't avoid it no matter what I did. But either way, I'm enjoying what I'm doing now. And I can say that up until that moment, I'm going to feel as good as I can every single day. And that's going to allow me to excel in all those other aspects of life as well. So again, coming back to controlling the controllables, which ultimately is that. So anyway, that's really all I had today, though, to chat about. Do you guys have any other questions? I mean, you want any more comments about that stuff, or any questions about anything else? Anything you want to kind of branch off of that? I don't know about you guys, but this damn time of the year right now, I woke up with a pounding headache. I just had it constantly all day long from the weather changes.
Or it's the same. Would you mind going over some travel tips for this workout? So I got a pretty big trip coming up, and I'm just very curious about.
What's your trip?
Vegas, actually, surprisingly.
Oh yeah. How long are you gonna be out there for?
Not for very long, like 3 nights, 4 days.
Well, the first thing I would say is, if you're going out there to drink and enjoy yourself, you don't have to work out. I mean, even if you're going out there to not do that, you don't. You're killing it enough here. Again, coming back to, you're controlling the controllables when you're here in town, which is majority of the time anyway. So you take 3 or 4 days off. That's totally fine. You could probably use the rest anyway. And honestly, if you intend to drink on there, you know, I mean, you're in Vegas, like, do Vegas things. So if you're going to drink out there, it's almost better to not go work out then, because again, now your sleep is going to be affected. Now your body's going to be less recovered. And now if you go try to slam away a good workout, that's how we get injured. That's how we get, you know, sick. That's how it's not going to go extremely well. So number one, you don't have to. Number two, though, if you are going to be out there doing it, you know, all the hotels out there, they have their own gyms. Some of them are very nice. Me personally, though, I've got my favorite gyms out there. Dragon's Lair is pretty cool, but Fit Club is one of my favorite gyms just in general that I've ever been. Great vibe. It's almost like a club vibe, but it's a gym. Jay Cutler, one of the best Olympians ever, he trains there as well. But that's a really cool gym. So like, if you do want to get a workout, if you only got 30 minutes, go to the hotel gym. But if you got a couple hours, like, go enjoy that. I also like the Lift Factory, but it's like 30 minutes off the strip, and it's like a $40 Uber ride. So no reason doing that. That turns into like $100 trip. But Fit Club, just right off the strip, is like 8 minutes away, and it's, again, one of my favorites. I would love to hear that you went there and you were like, yeah, that was freaking sweet. But otherwise, though, no worries if you don't get it in. You know, control the days leading up to it, control nutrition going up to it. Some other tips that I would definitely have in terms of like nutrition, and honestly how to survive Vegas without coming back 10 or 15 pounds overweight than whenever you left there, is, number one, you are going to come back heavier just from travel and water retention that happens with that, and cortisol levels being higher from just traveling and the stress of it all. So you will come back a little bit with that, especially if you drink at all. That's going to happen as well. But number one, get as many go to CVS as soon as you get there before you even go to the hotel room and get a shit ton of waters. So you have that so you can stay as hydrated as possible. Same thing whenever you're going out to eat and getting drinks and stuff like that. Make sure you're mixing in as many waters as you can. If you're gambling, ask for waters as much as you can, alongside a drink if that's what you're going to have. But outside of that, I bring protein powder or protein bars with me just in case. You can also stop at, CVS and kind of load up the fridge. Most of them have, small little mini fridges. So load it with some protein shakes and there. That way you have maybe a breakfast shake and then maybe, if you didn't eat before you got back to the hotel room, then maybe you slam one before you go to bed as well. So then you're
What's
at least
the flight rule on protein powders?
that I usually if you check it, then it's not a problem. I don't know about carry on. I don't ever carry
I,
on.
I brought it as a carry on. It's no problem.
Did you bring it in like a tub? Did you bring it in like just a little plastic
I
bag?
brought it in a gallon Ziploc bag.
Okay, cool. I mean,
Oh,
Yeah.
that.
It's not liquid, so it's fine.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And well, and unless you just have other things you shouldn't have with you that are like inside of that powder, they'll check and be like, oh, okay, this is protein powder, no worries. So I think you're safe on all that.
Cool. I was mainly curious about that. Like I'm not going to go ape on food, ape on drinks, or nothing like that. I'm going there for a
Oh, that's right.
work trip, so they're going to be taking care of me. We're just having a couple of breakfasts and a dinner, but and then one thing for a costume group that I'm meeting up down there. But it's mostly just like, what's the food situation? The hardest thing for me was like I'd never flown with protein before, and I was like, man, I really don't want to buy just a whole new ass container just to have it be thrown away.
Well, when I was saying buy protein shakes there, I'm talking about like the refrigerated ones and just buy like, 10, like how many you're going to need for that. So if you're going to be there for four days, buy like six or eight of those. But
Gotcha.
otherwise, if you can just bring a shaker bottle and a blender ball and then whatever powder with that as well. And then you're totally fine to do that. Same thing with like protein bars. I always travel that anyway, just because you don't know what the hell is going to happen in the airport. Are you going to have delays and stuff like that? So if you have protein bars and you can travel with that stuff, you can pack that stuff in your carry on.
Okay.
So I always have that as well. Especially if it's like an early morning flight, I always bring that stuff, and that's my breakfast at the airport. But otherwise, though, do that. Like I said, get as much water as you can whenever you get there. In terms of food out there, you don't travel a whole lot and have a bunch of like crazy cheat meals and stuff like that. So if you just want to enjoy yourself, just enjoy yourself. If you want to stay a little more on plan and limit the amount of damage that does happen with it, what I always recommend is if you're going to have 3 meals out, let's just say breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're going to eat those out. Try to make at least one of those, if not 2 of those, more nutrient focused. Prioritize protein with every single meal. Make sure that you have that with it. But for 2 out of the 3 meals, pick veggies as your side, pick fruit as your side, try to stick to the cleaner stuff. If you have the option to, of course. And then like dinner time for me, like I'm eating whatever sounds good, I'm eating it. Enjoy yourself. You're in Vegas, so enjoy some tasty food with it. And ultimately you end up, you go in with a plan and then it throws it out the window and you're kind of eating bullshit for 3 meals a day. Like it is what it is. 4 days worth isn't going to make, even if you just went the craziest possible, you're going to come back and bounce right back out. So that's the other key too. Control it leading up to it. As soon as you get back home, control it, lock right back into plan. I always recommend, prep some extra chicken and freeze it, prep some extra, ground beef, whatever your proteins are. That way, once you get home, you can go ahead and thaw that. And then you're good to go. Then you already have kind of your meals ready to go for that first day back.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So I was doing that right there in this past weekend too. All right, appreciate it, guys.
Sure. Yeah. Enjoy yourself. Where are you staying at?
Mirage.
Nice. It's funny with Vegas. Like the first time I went out there, I didn't love it a whole lot, but every time I went out there, I've enjoyed it more and more and more. Good
I've
stuff.
been there once, and it was just pretty entertaining. I went there for mostly just to go check out the museums more than anything else. They had some pretty fun ones there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I didn't hit the strip or nothing. I just more or less walked everywhere.
Are you seeing any shows or anything while you're out there?
None that I know of, no. I'm pretty much, I'm there for a conference called CinemaCon, pretty much a bunch of movie theater technology, and then I guess they're premiering a movie there and whatnot. And then I'm meeting a charity group called Critical Care Comics.
Cool.
They did the same thing as my cosplay group that I do, but they've been established a little longer. So
It's awesome.
made plans to go have dinner with them, and they seem like a good bunch of people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, enjoy yourself, man. Safe travels. Have a good time. Come home and get locked back in.
That should be a problem.
Cool, brother. Thanks for the question.
Yeah.
Dex, Krista, Tanya, y'all got anything for me?
Nah, I don't.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Congrats again, Dex.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Krista, we talked earlier today, but all right, there we go. Nope. All right. Well then, good talk today. I appreciate you guys being on. Check-in date is tomorrow and Friday, so get those in. Again, those have been awesome here lately. I feel like people are getting really, really motivated with even though it's been rainy and shit out. Hopefully, it doesn't affect too many things this week. But we're headed towards summertime. We're officially into springtime. We officially have about 3 months left till summer. So, now is the time to put your foot on the gas pedal, not to hit the brakes. So let's keep crushing it, guys. All right, y'all have a good weekend, week ahead, all that good stuff. I will talk to you guys next week.